Yes, miss.
So today, just a half an hour class with 6 slides. First, swine industry. Okay. What is the another name of swine? Anybody?
Recording in progress.
Another name of swine?
Pig.
First point. The pig production in Sri Lanka is concentrated in west coastal belt of Sri Lanka. So in the western coastal belt, we are having high amount of pig production. Okay, there is some areas that are called as pig belts. Okay, this is one of your spot questions. Okay, so under the swine, you will get this question. Please tell the areas which is considered as pig belts. So there are 4 areas: Colombo, Gambaha, Kaluttura, and Puttalam. Okay, please note the areas that are considered as pig belts that are coming under pig belt: Colombo, Gambaha, Kaluttura, and Puttalam. And among the pig, we are having 2 types, such as indigenous pigs. Okay, we already studied about the indigenous cattle, indigenous goats, indigenous sheep. So what is the common problem in those indigenous breeds?
Not produce too much productions.
Okay, low production is the main problem. So here also in the indigenous pigs. So indigenous means what? That is the native of Sri Lanka. That is Sri Lankan pigs. Just like us, we are Sri Lankans. That means the pigs that are having the native as Sri Lanka is indigenous pigs. So these indigenous pigs and the crosses of these indigenous pigs with males of exotic breeds. So here exotic breeds means the foreign breeds that are having high production. So when the indigenous breeds and the cross between the indigenous breeds and males of exotic breeds and also the local females from the national stocks. Okay, local indigenous female stocks. All are having this problem, low productivity. So these pigs have a major proportion. So the rest part having some superior stocks, so exotic breeds. Example for the superior pigs of exotic breeds are large white, land race, and middle white. So these breeds are available in Sri Lanka. So these are called as exotic breeds that are having high production. So here I'm repeating the second and third point. Here we are having major proportion of indigenous pigs and the cross between the indigenous breeds and exotic breeds male and local indigenous female breeds. So these all are having low production. And we are also having a little part of superior pigs that are having high production. So major portion is the indigenous pigs with low production. So we are having a small amount of superior pigs. Examples for the superior pigs are large white, land race, and middle white. So the problem with Sri Lanka is we are having no planned breeding and selection for the maintenance and genetic improvement of the available superior stocks. Okay, here we are having the superior stocks. Superior stocks means what? The stocks that are having high production, but we are not properly utilizing, not properly using those superior breeds. Okay, so how can we utilize the superior breeds correctly? So when we are correctly using these breeds, we want to make this high production superior breeds with low production indigenous breeds. Then we can get the offsprings means the children like that. So we can get the offsprings with high production. Okay. So, but the problem is we are not having a good selection mechanism, or we are not having a correct planned breeding. Okay, even though we are having superior stocks, the first thing what we want to do perfectly is selecting. We want to select the father and mother. Father means, so we want to select a superior stock and we want to correctly select an indigenous stock for mating purpose. Our first fault is we are not correctly selecting. The second problem is there is no planned breeding. Okay, the selection and planned breeding is the problem in correctly using the available superior stocks. Okay, I am again explaining the slide. In the first point, we want to know where the large production of pigs in Sri Lanka. So that is Western Coastal Belts. So what about the population? So major, we are having indigenous pigs, processed between the indigenous pigs and males of exotic breeds, and we are having local females, all these with low productivity. And we are having high productivity superior pigs like large white, land race, and middle white. So the main problem is we are not having the planned breeding and selection for correctly using those with available superior stocks. Okay. The nucleus stock of exotic breeds. So exotic breeds, what I already told you, what is exotic breeds? So exotic breeds are the foreign breeds with high production. We are having the nucleus stock of exotic breeds. So here the nucleus stock means the genetic materials. Okay, with this genetic materials we can produce a new animal just like DNA. So we are having this nucleus stocks of exotic breeds in the state pickery at Velisara. So why we are having this nucleus stocks? First purpose, we can produce the pure bred of large white, land race and large white into land race crosses. The first purpose is we can produce pure breeds and also crosses. Second, for multiplication purpose. Multiplication means breeding purpose. Third, upgrading of our local pigs. So we are having the nucleus stocks of superior breeds. Where we are having this nucleus stocks at state pickery at Velisara. Why we are having this nucleus stock? To produce pure bred of large white land race and large white into land race crosses, and for multiplication and upgrading. Okay, so if you want to memorize this point, just you can separate this point. We are having the nucleus stocks at Velisara of the superior breeds for the purpose of multiplication, upgrading, and producing large breeds. That's enough. Large breeds, you can tell one example, large white, just like this. The other point, so far the pig production program in the country is the best organized program in the livestock program in the country, as this direct farmer involvement in production is concerned. So here, when considering pig production, here we are having the direct farmer involvement in the production. That's why the pig production program is well organized. And here we are having pig producers, associations of cooperatives have been formed among the farmers to organize the input supplies and marketing. So in the pig productions, there are some farmers who are organized themselves in associates, into cooperatives. Okay, there are farmer cooperatives, and these farmer cooperatives is supplying the inputs and they are carrying on the marketing activity. That's why we are having best organized livestock programs in the country. Simply, if you're having a doubt in the last point, I will explain it again. So in order to supply the inputs means, so for pig production, we want some inputs like feeding facilities, housing facilities, all are these inputs. And after growing the pigs, we want to sell those pigs for the marketing purpose. So here the farmers organized among themselves and they formed some cooperatives. Cooperatives means one cooperative may have 20 or 30 farmers. So these farmers are carrying on the input supply activities and marketing activities. So the farmers are organizing themselves into cooperatives and they are carrying on those activities for the input supplies and marketing in those pig production. Okay, there's two more slides. The first problem, here also we are going to discuss about problems and constraints. Okay, in the swine industries, we are not only having the problems and constraints. The first problem is poor housing and management. So, in raising the superior exotic stocks and their productivity. Okay. We are having some exotic superior breeds that we already explained in previous slide. Can anyone tell what are those breeds? Large white landrace. So here we are having this. Can you hear my voice?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, here we are having superior exotic stocks. But the superior exotic stock should be provided with good housing and management facilities. Then only they can give the maximum production. Okay, normally our indigenous breeds, that means the breeds that is native to Sri Lanka, that indigenous breeds will have bigger. That means they can survive in harsh environment. But exotic breeds that are from foreign countries can survive in our local conditions. So if we want to maintain the exotic stocks here correctly, we want to provide adequate or needed facilities like correct housing management, correct feeding, correct veterinary facilities. So we want to supply all these facilities. Then only the superior exotic stocks can perform well. But in Sri Lanka, we could not able to supply the correct amount of these facilities. So the management practices are very less. So that is the first problem. And second problem is limited availability of feed resources and high cost of rations or ingredients. So this is the second problem. If you can understand it easily, first problem is availability. The correct amount of feed resources are not available. Second, quality is low. Okay, two problems are here regarding the feed. First problem is availability. Second problem is quality. Okay, these feed resources are very less available. Because of that reason, it is high cost. Okay, normally we study in economics. Whatever we are having in very low level, that will have so very low amount. That particular goods have very high price. Just like that, when demand increases, when supply decreases, demand will increase. So just like that, so we are having limited availability of feed resources, and the available feed resources are having high cost. So the ingredients means the substances or the materials that we are using to formulate the feed that are also having high cost. Example, maize, soybean meal, rice polish, rice bran, coconut poured, and fish meal are in short supply and expensive. So these feed items and also ingredients which are utilized to make the feeds are in high cost. Second, even though these are available, some of these feed items and ingredients are having very low quality. Quality is also problem. So when considering feed resources, three main problems. First, limited availability, high cost of rations, low quality of feed ingredients. So here when you are writing the sewing on examination, you don't need to give the example for all these feed ingredients till 3. Maize, soybean meal, rice polish. That is enough. Okay? You don't need to tell everything. Or simply rice polish, rice bran, coconut powder. Give any 3 examples. Not only here, we're considering animal science examination. If you are having a large number of examples, 3 is enough. Okay? The third point is superior breeding stocks are not available in large amounts. Okay, for breeding programs, we want to conduct large number of breeding programs. We want to have large number of superior breeding stocks, but the availability of superior breeding stocks is very less. So that's the third problem. And okay, when considering the pig meats, so normally in Sri Lanka, chicken meat is highly preferred. Okay, and some other meats are also highly preferred, like mutton, chicken, and beef also somewhat preferred, but it is only having religious barrier. But when considering pig meat, it is having 3 main problems. The first, consumer resistance. Okay, some of the people in Sri Lanka will not wish to consume this pig meat. So that is the consumer resistance. Consumer resistance means the consumers don't want to get this pig meat. They are not interested in eating the pig meat. That is consumer resistance. And religious concept. Okay, in some religions, there is a rule that they can't consume the pig meat. Just like, I think, I'm not very are there any Muslim students here?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, is there any religious rule that can you consume pig meat? Okay, I'm not sure, but I think the Muslims are having some restriction in consuming pig meats. Okay, I will clear it later in the next class. And the Hindus are having some problems with beef meat. Okay, so just like this, there are some religious concepts. Some religions are prohibiting the consumption of the pig meat and the dietary habits. So because of the diets or diet problems, some people will face some difficulties in consuming the pig meat. So they will not add pig meat in their diet. So 3 problems. The first is consumer resistance. Yes. So that's right. The Muslims can't consume the pig meat. Okay. The first problem is consumer resistance. That means not all the people will like the pig meat. Second, some religions can't consume the pig meat. So people who are following some religions can't consume the pig meat. Third problem, diet. The people who are strictly following the diet will not take the pig meat or will not include the pig meat in their diet. Okay. Other problem, lack of organized and efficient marketing systems. So there is middleman. Middleman means the person who is between the producer and the consumer. Okay. He will get the product from the producer at very low price and sell to the consumers at high price. So this is the middleman. That person is called as middleman. Because of this middleman, the producers are getting very low amount of profit. Okay. But if there is an organized and efficient marketing system, we can prevent the domination of the middleman in the market. Okay. I will again explain the point. Here the first point is there is no organized and efficient marketing system. The problem is there is middleman intervention or domination by middleman. So middleman means the person who is buying the product from the producers and selling the particular product to the consumers. Okay, what he will do is he will buy the products at very low price from the producers and sell it to high price to the consumer. So the persons who are affected here is the producers. Okay, the producers can't get enough amount of profit or enough amount of income because of this middleman. So they are facing some losses because of this middleman. So here, if you want to have an organized or efficient marketing system, we want to stop this middleman domination. Okay. The other problem is limited processing facilities and plants. So there are some meat processing facilities to improve the quality of meat. So if we have improved the quality of the meat, then we can sell that meat in high price. But here in Sri Lanka, we are having limited processing facilities. Okay, I think on the last class or before the last class, I explained about extension services. Can anyone tell what is extension services? Simply in your language. That means your own English.
Who is having a good knowledge about that region, educating the farmers about that and giving advices to them.
Very good. Thank you so much. And for those persons are called as extension services, the persons who are having a good knowledge regarding the subject. Here, pig production. The persons who are expert in pig productions and pig related studies. Here, these farmers can train the farmers about the management practices. So here, we are not having resource personnel. So resource personnel means those educated persons. Okay, the persons who are having high knowledge regarding the swine production. We are not having the resource personnel, and we are not having enough facilities to organize these programs. Two problems. Okay. We are having lack of resource personnel and not having any facilities to train the farmers. Okay. And the other problem is research activities. We can do some research to improve the production of the pigs. Okay. But here we are having some researches. So first problem is we are not having enough research activities to improve the production. But even though there is some research activities, the research activities are only about the feeds and feedstuffs. Okay? That means we are not, I'll explain the fourth point again, we are not having correct amount of research activities for improve the pig production. There is only less amount of research. That research is also only about the feedstuffs. Okay? Other than feedstuffs, there is many areas for the research. But the research people are not concentrating on those areas. They can research about the breeding, they can research about the health management, but they are not doing the researches in these areas. They are only doing the researches regarding feeds, local feeds. Feeding trials means, just like I'll explain simply, giving one feed to the swine and observing the response and production of the swine. Okay, simply we will supply. There's a feed stuff. I'm formulating a feed ration, and I'm supplying the feed ration in 5, 10, 25, and 30%, and I will give those feeds to the swines in those percentage, and I will just look at the production level, and I will just look at the meat quality, so the taste of the meat. So I will just get knowledge what the feed stuff is doing with the meat. So what is the improvement in the meat quality with this feed stuffs? Okay, that is called as feed trials. Okay, simply giving a certain amount of feeds to those swines and observing their production level, whether they are performing high with the speed or their performance is reducing with the speeds. That is called as feeding trials. So there is only limited research activities So those research activities that are conducted regarding these swine is based on the feeds and feed trials. And the final problem is disease problem. So recently introduced swine fever and Japanese encephalitis. And there are some other common disease problems also. So we are having disease problems and there is high cost of drugs. So in order to treat these diseases, we want drugs. The drugs is also a high cost. That is also a problem here. In next class, we can see about the poultry industry. That is also a half an hour class. Okay. Okay, now you can leave the class.
Thank you, ma'am. Thank you, ma'am.